So about a month ago, I was lucky enough to attend a 3-day watercolour workshop hosted by Hieu, who goes by Kelogsloops online. You may recognize some of his gorgeous paintings from across the internet, and he was going to teach 20 of us his painting style. Now, hate is a strong word, but the truth is, I'd never taken to watercolour. I admired people who enjoyed it and can appreciate good art made with it, but I used it once in high school and I found it so frustrating to work with that I didn't even bother looking up tutorials and I just ran straight into the arms of gouache instead. So, when I saw his workshop notice on Instagram, I thought it might just be the exact thing I needed to shake up my perspective and kick me out of my art block.
Now arriving at Collingwood.
Good morning! It's a very exciting day today because I am currently on my way to a art workshop. This would actually be the first proper art workshop I've been to this year / ever outside of school. So yeah, I'm excited but also nervous. Shout out to Win and Rafaela who let me borrow their watercolor materials for this. I don't know how it's gonna go, but hopefully I do well and hopefully I learn a lot. I'm mostly looking to learn color mixing and color theory from him because obviously watercolor you have to make your own colors to paint skin and stuff like that, and also how to draw faces and figures a little bit better. That's my goal. We'll see how we go. It's a beautiful day as well. Lovely walk, although I know it's going to be raining for the next couple of days.
The studio itself was very bright and open, and we were 4 students to a table. It was actually the first time I've been around more than one fellow artist in public, and it's genuinely so lovely to be able to talk about this hobby in depth with others with a similar background. Hieu gave us some time to settle in and get to know each other, and then he opened the day with a good old punny joke.
What is a seal's favourite subject?
A seal's favorite subject.
The workshop was structured to have demos from Hieu followed by solo painting time, and during that time he would come around for help and feedback.
Does that make sense? Yeah.
The first few hours was spent learning about and practicing basic watercolor knowledge like color mixing and techniques such as dry on wet and wet on wet painting.
Yeah. Can I see more? So these are similar in the. Is that reds? Okay, yeah. So these are cool yellow, warm yellow.
Yeah, it's just that there were so many. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, it's intimidating. Yeah.
After the basics, we got into sketching our first portrait. Hieu broke down his process and approach for drawing portraits, and then we all made our own from a reference. Then it was time to break an hour for lunch, where we got to spend some time with the resident studio dog, who, despite her senile frame later that day, stole a banh mi off the catering table.
Good doggy. Hello.
Post-lunch, it was time to pick up the brush and start painting. Now, I had so much anxiety about messing this drawing up with my noob watercolor skills that I ended up making a backup sketch so that I had a second chance to try again and apply any feedback that I got from the first one. If you're a perfectionist and you know it, clap your hands.
I'm not going to force you, but I would love to see some text, some splatters, or you don't have to.
Bring out my inner Agnes.
Yeah, bring out green Agnes, yeah. Are you saying for you, Tina?
I know.
I would love to see because this is very
That's why I
realistic.
started again.
Yeah, it's tomorrow. It's tomorrow.
And
This is beautifully rendered.
yeah,
This will be amazing, right? But today's about loosening up.
I'm doing it.
We need some of your
I'll get
pictures
there.
around us.
Yeah, that would be helpful.
Just one drip first.
I think one of the main benefits of learning from someone in person is being able to see all aspects of their working style, not just their output. I feel like I learned so much just watching Hieu mix colors on a plate, or seeing how and when he would dry his brush after washing it so that he could get the right wash or pull. The other thing, obviously, is the fact that they are there to help you in real time. And as the kid who went to every office hour during school, I really appreciated that Hieu made the effort to make sure that every person at the workshop had their time with him to get questions answered and guidance on how they could improve individually.
This level is tricky to avoid like cauliflowering, but you can do the dryness, the wetness of it.
Don't know how to make cauliflower.
That's got a cauliflower. Same as here. This is already cauliflowered. I can see the different levels of wetness. Immediately you can tell.
Okay.
Soft bleeds, but not the cauliflower.
Okay, I'll try.
After a few more layers of details and a background, we each dried our portraits and brought them together in a mini showcase. Also, side note, it is so clever to use a hairdryer to dry your watercolors between layers, because why wouldn't you? Of course!
Yay! Oh, that's satisfying.
Hieu was very proud, and I like to think we were as well. But the craziest part was that it felt like we'd actually done so much already, but this was just the beginning, like it was day one.
Okay, it's day 2 of the workshop. I didn't have time to film an intro. I should have done it in the car, but we're doing realism portraits today, which is kind of scary, but hopefully it all goes well because being more realistic is my specialty, so. Oh, I forgot to mention, I'm also exhausted. I've not been sleeping very well recently, and this morning I woke up and I was literally dizzy. So I slammed a green tea and hopefully I'll be fine.
I missed getting Hugh's joke this morning, so you'll have to take my word that the punchline of yellow was funny.
What? Wait, can you explain it?
He had us swap tables every day so that we could meet some new people, which was really nice. And I actually took the same approach for day 2, which is where I have a spare drawing to calm my nerves about messing up the first one. But as you'll see later, it didn't exactly play to my favor, mostly because I'd made one of the sketches on the wrong paper, and so it took me multiple attempts to replicate it, and that took a lot of time. I also just want to quickly say I am sorry to Hieu for looking so unimpressed and yawning here. I genuinely was thinking very deeply, and also I was just very tired. It's not you, it's me. Your demos were great. Thank you. So I found realism painting really challenging until I realized that Hieu's ratio of skin tone colors is about 10 parts yellow to 1 part red and 1 part blue, which was not what I was doing. But I didn't figure this out also until day 3, so go figure. Also, while we're on this, can I just say it's actually so mind-blowing watching Hieu paint skin. If you've seen his paintings up close before, you'll understand the smooth and radiant quality his skin tones can have, but it's really insane watching it being shaped layer by layer and with such precision and technique. And then especially to then go and try it yourself and realize just how hard it is. It really reminds me of how some of the best dancers in the world look the most relaxed and at ease, when in fact they're actually probably the ones fighting and pushing the hardest. Hieu's friend Robin also came by during lunch to provide some free tea catering from his business Mars Cha, which has a really cool mission statement. You can check it out. And the jasmine tea that was served with bush honey was my favorite.
Simple for now, just focus on reintroducing.
We painted the hair using the same approach as day 1, but as you can see, I didn't get around to finishing my second painting on this day.
How do I sign?
Sign in online.
But like, what do I write? I've never had to sign out like before. My name? Okay, you use a pseudonym. Okay. Right.
The mini gallery at the end of the day is always my favorite. Everyone is so talented. Like, look at this Han.
This is a photo. At this point, take it home, it's a photo.
Committed to the shadows, you guys balance it very well. Everything looks very cohesive, okay? Again, you guys need to trust the process. Trust yourself, because you guys, I can see you guys freezing.
Good morning. It's raining. Cats and dogs. I think yesterday was really hard because I found it really challenging to do well. Partially because we were mixing skin tones and I just couldn't get like a pink. I just kept getting like a sienna. I also was trying to do 2 paintings again because it worked really well yesterday. But honestly, sometimes you gamble and sometimes you win, and then sometimes you gamble and sometimes you lose. And I think yesterday I lost because, as you would have seen, I had to redraw one of the portraits and that took too long, and My attention was really divided, and it ended up with me not being able to put more focus and time into one of the paintings, so both of them suffered. Anyway, I'm here early this morning because I want to finish the other painting, or at least do more on it. But it's this funny thing where, like, if you want to get good at something, you have to be bad at something first. And I think the feeling of being bad at something is just so icky sometimes. It can really put you off. But even though I was kind of struggling yesterday and I was like mentally and emotionally just not in a good space, I was still reminding myself, I was like, look, this is a class. I'm here to learn, and learning means making mistakes. It's like part of the process. So it's fine if one of the paintings or all of your paintings are not your best work, because you're learning here so that you can do your best work later on. This is just practice. You're always going to need heaps and heaps of practice and making not good paintings. I don't know. Your standard's always going to be different, but you're going to need to do that before you get good at something. And you can't give up too early just because you're still in that practice stage, because there's always going to be a practice stage. And if you just always give up trying something new because you can't get past the practice stage, you'll never become a person who's really good at a lot of things. So yeah, I'm trying to keep that in mind. I'm going to do only one painting today so that I can really take my time and focus. But yeah, last day of the workshop, I'm going to do my best. And I'm going to try and apply everything that I've learned over the last 2 days. I'm going to try and make the most of it. I'm actually very early. I don't even know if they're inside yet.
On the last day, Hieu brought in some of his recent personal sketchbooks for us to rifle through, which was phenomenal. Being able to see the pieces up close and see the other stages of his creative process was what made me realize just how solid Hieu is at sketching. Like, his paintings don't come to life just because he's good at watercolour. It's because his sketches and lines can stand alone as their own pieces, which is what gives the watercolours an excellent structure to sit on and bring to life. Without the emotions and details of a sketch to begin with, I feel like a lot of paintings would look very different at the end. My favourite is probably this page of monochrome studies. Tom, one of the other students, also brought everyone chocolate croissants on the last day. He's an absolute saint, and it really gave me the motivation to achieve my goals today, which are 1, to salvage and finish the painting from the previous day, and 2, to do my best job on my single painting of the day.
Day 3 of the workshop!
Yay!
First of all, what did the janitor say when he jumped out of the art closet? That is...
I can guess it. Surprise!
The focus for the third day would be negative space. So we were applying what we'd learned about skin tones to the face and the body, and what we had learned about abstraction to the background only, and leaving the hair and or clothing white for contrast. I did my best to loosen up and back myself, because the world wouldn't end just because I picked the wrong shade of skin.
Okay, guys, we're going in. We got this. It's gonna be okay. Okay, good. I'm gonna leave it. I'm not happy with some of it, but I say as I touch it again. Okay, I'm gonna leave it. This is first layer, number 1.
Hieu was also very kind and noticed my reference was backlit, which meant I'd be essentially painting over most of my portrait on the second layer when it's time to do the midtones and then the shadows. So he told me to call him over when I was ready so that he could help me.
I'm ready when you're ready.
Yeah. Well, what we're going to do is this shape.
I like marked out, but...
Yeah, no, so this is really good already, this line. I want to make sure this will emphasize a little bit more. Kind of like how I do the technique over there. Just go.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I'm
Yeah.
just thinking, because, like...
If anything,
Oh,
as soon as you
right.
do the wash, call me over and I can lift it for you. What's the word?
Oh,
As soon as you do the wash, you're done, just say, you come out. Okay?
okay. So should I do a darker color?
I'll do a more
Just
deep
less
shade.
Like a bit more
Actually,
blue? Okay,
we can still blur it afterwards.
okay.
So, just get a nice wash for me.
Thank you.
Thank you, Angela. You're still shining, right?
All right, I'm gonna do it. I think this is an okay color.
I want to give myself a bit of credit and say that by the third day, I definitely had learned a lot and was able to apply it to what I was doing. Like, I cannot imagine handling such a big brush with such precision and care around corners and edges like this on my first day. And to know how wet the brush needs to be when, that's definitely something I'd taken for granted as a skill to be learned and attuned to before I had actually tried it out myself.
So are you scrubbing the page a bit though?
Scrubbing a little bit.
That's okay.
Yeah. I'm not doing too much. I'm kind of just removing the excess paint from the page.
Okay.
Like that.
And the brush needs to be a bit wet.
A little bit, but not too wet that it creates more blooms.
Day 3 also brought more food friends. This time it was Robbie and Ken who came by to make us coffee and matcha. Now, I unfortunately am the opposite of caffeine proof, which means I drink a little bit of caffeine and I stay awake for 12 hours. So in the interests of actually getting a good night's sleep and at a reasonable hour, I asked for a mini matcha, which was basically just half the amount of matcha but keeping everything else the same, including the sugar syrup. And it ended up tasting like a liquid matcha Kit Kat. So highly recommend trying that out for your next order if that sounds like heaven to you.
Because I'm going to try and freehand a circle.
Tricky. Well, I was used to get one of my big brushes. Basically, what I do is painting.
Not perfect.
Very light glaze.
Not perfect, but not bad.
Identify the difference really well.
The brush strokes are artistic. I think it's about to be pushed. That's actually.
Looking back on this footage and reflecting on the workshop as a whole, I think the biggest thing that I learned wasn't actually about watercolor, but myself as an artist. I realized it had been a long time since I'd felt joy in art, where you paint or draw just to explore and to have fun, rather than try to make something perfect and beautiful. It had really gotten to the point where I was telling myself that I wasn't a creative person, that I was good at drawing from a reference, but that I had no good original ideas and just didn't have what it takes to be a painter or to be good with colors. But making these portraits and trying out a medium that I know so little about, and then being asked to decide for ourselves where to put what color and how to make the background interesting, I felt like I really had to tune into my intuition and see what felt right instead of what I felt like I should be doing. I guess it's what makes adult coloring books so appealing to some people, because that meditative state where you lock in and tune out everything else and just try and put what you feel is right onto a page and then seeing what happens, that's an experience that was really calming and helped me to switch my mind off. So if you're in a similar rut to me and have the opportunity to join Hieu's workshop or another class, give it a chance and you might just be surprised by how much value you get from it. And then I realized I have no idea where it was, so I ended up just using yours.